Yes, Queen. We I don't know if Eric and I even still have a podcast, but I wanted to get something on the board. Him and I have had scheduling mishaps because look, both of us just got a lot going on, brother. But Girthy podcast, this is a work smarter, not harder kind of session. I figure I would just do a little guy and get a few things over to you. I like to call myself the Susie Orman of podcasting, business podcasting. You know, Susie Orman, that if she's not a lesbian, she looks like one, but she's the one that gives financial advice. She used to have a show that was very entertaining. And she seemed more genuine to me than Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey seems like a scheme where Susie Orman really sound like Minnesota or Chicago trying to help people. I want to get to real quick, and this will be more of like work smarter, not harder kind of pod episodes. I might make this more of a Patreon. I have the idea for that, and maybe one called ROI, just to get short guys in there. And then Eric and I could do other podcasts, just hanging out, and he could tell me about aliens and things that are pretty interesting about aliens, I guess. And I'll bring up random stuff, which I've got a heater in my head for some reason. For right now, Zupyak.com, promo code SWEAT. If you write any blog post or you need to rewrite something, or you want to take someone else's, you want to plagiarize other people's work, you can put the URL in Zupyak.com and put it in, and it will remix it, which is pretty valuable. If you do the promo code SWEAT, you get the hookup on it. It's SEO AI writing, and you can kind of write it in your voice if you want. So the biggest thing everybody will tell me is AI gets devalued. Not so much with Zupyak, because you can kind of alter it the way you need to. Just like a lot of apps, it'll take a little bit of time to kind of get around there, but take 10 minutes. And if you write anything and you're like me and I had to write a validation letter to my daughter for her class. I had to do this for my son last year. And at first blush, I'm like, validation day, really? But it was actually kind of a sweet thing. It's like, when do you get to hear everybody, her whole class wrote a letter to her, and they do it for every kid, but they wrote a letter to her, all good things. And then the parents come and they read their letter, and she read a letter to us, and it was very touching. I didn't cry, although I almost did like 4 times. And if you're like me, having to write something from whole cloth a lot of the time, it can be like, all right, I have to really talk myself into it. If it's for work kind of writing, then it's one of those things where I'll be like, oh man, there's like no creative juice behind it. So Zupyak kind of will bridge that gap for the ADHD, the math people like me, or good concept people, but not execution on the writing. And then a couple other things I'll give you, and I'll put it in the show description, is Incogni. I've been using it. It's it'll take, if you get anybody's phone number, any phone number I get, I immediately put in fastpeoplesearch.com, especially any of the dating app hoochies I'm talking to. I want to make sure I'm talking to the right person. And it's creepy how correct it is, how much data is out there. So Incogni data removal, there's a promo code in the episode. I think it'll show you how many hours it saved if you had to do this manually. It's taken me off 133 different public data record sites and another like 60 private ones. So I'm in marketing. I work in the kind of the nerd side on the data aspect. I know a lot about it, and it's still mind blowing how much is out there. Think of this. I've never signed up for any political ad or like anything for a mailer. I'm getting political ads out the ass, and I would describe myself as apolitical. I don't like that my data's out there. It's gonna be a slow burn to really kind of work on that and get all of that off. But for now, Incogni is a good cheat code. And then Flowdesk email marketing. I've been using this to promote when I have my special filming, and I'll be using it when we really do the premiere stuff. I'm going to be sending email blasts out, and I love Flowdesk when all the other email marketing apps have become like they try to do everything or they get bought up. MailChimp. And they try to add too many features. Oh, they're an automation. They're a CRM now. Fuck that. Flowdesk rules. It's very simple. You can get in and out. If you're quick with email marketing, if you've done any of it in the basic levels, they already have templates, all that stuff. You can get 50% off the premium, which is like takes it to $19 a month for the premium version of Flowdesk, which means I'm not going to say Flowdesk at the bottom. You can do some automations with it if you want, but you don't have to. They've simplified the user experience, which I love. Same with like Squarespace, CallRail, LinkedIn Premium. Those will all be links in the episode description. Kind of a long sponsorship, but all of these were from things we liked, and some are affiliate links, some are just some are sponsors. I guess I should, to officially make this our podcast, I got to give a hottie toddy. I don't know what our theme music is. I know it's changed. We sold Sweat Equity Podcast, the trademark, and GIRTHYpod is a working title, which we like because we've been saying kind of a mantra of girthy ROI. You want to get that very wide hockey stick on the graph of the ROI, the multiple X ROI. And it dawned on me recently, might not be a great name if we're not famous already, because the searchability is going to be tough. So I don't really want to do a full rebrand, but because I could do it for clients. I can't. It's harder for something a little bit emotionally invested in, like Eric and I are. And then there's two of us who are very good at rebranding things. But again, when you're close to it, it's very tough. So I've got a couple things, how to upscale video into 4K, or if you had old like 360 video from a flip camera. I can see my nicotine gum showing up on video. I'll take that out. Yeah, I'm cool. Nicotine gum. I've got places where I've got a link so you can jump over paywalls to read stuff. And I've got a place where you can, you want to get that Getty image, and you want to get that Adobe stock photo, whatever it is, Shutterstock, and you want to get rid of that watermark. Well, I've got the site. This is called a tease, y'all. This is a real tease. But I was thinking about two things, not so much business related. This will all kind of go around time. Work smarter, not harder is one of my least favorite phrases, but it applies to a lot of things. I think of time as a commodity. And if you ever talk to older people, the one thing they wish they had more of was time dedicated to the correct areas. Ask any successful person, what do you wish you did more of? You'll hear a lot of them say, I wish I spent more time with my family, usually. That's like one big regret out of these like monster CEOs that decide to get a conscience all of a sudden. Or workaholics, which kind of became a synonymous with work ethic, like a good work ethic. But now someone was like, no, it's a bad thing. It's a pejorative. It's like you're addicted to work, and addictions are really classified. I've heard when it starts getting in the way of everything else. So like that's always my indicator to pull back. I'm fat. I'm at the fattest fat I've been because of the hurricane eating, hurricane boredom eating at an all-time high. But what's it called? You know, that's when I pull back. I go, whoa, 220. That's my fattest fat for me. That's bad on me. I feel like crap. And so that's when I pull back. Same working's the same. You got figuring out time management is so underrated and not talked about because it may be boring, but it is that thing of like the people I hate the most are people that are perpetually late. And it's a weird psychology behind that. It to people who aren't late, it seems insane to have someone close in your life that's always late. Now I've heard that kind of theory, like, well, you think your time's more valuable than mine. I don't think it's that conscious. I think there's something there where if you've ever had someone that's late all the time and you actually watch them, observe them, you're like, oh, you just sit down and stare at a wall. Like that's part of your process for getting ready. Or, if you got to be somewhere at 5 and it usually takes 30 minutes to get there and it's 4 o'clock, when time do you leave? And they're like 5. And you're like, there's something odd about it. And it's one of those things. If you're successful enough, you can mask it. As Michael Wilbon says, winning is a stinky cologne. But I think I've been thinking about time, and time's a flat circle. I was getting it deep into that last night. I don't really understand what that means 10 years later after True Detective was out, and I heard it last night and I was like, I still don't get it. I'll put a pin in that for now until I really do my quote research. But 2 things I got for you, unrelated to life hacks, stuff like that. Hurricane. I'm beat from the hurricane. I'm overwhelmed and I didn't get anything really. I lost power for a little bit. That was about it. I'm right in Tampa, right in the middle. I mean, technically we didn't get hit by either Helene or Uncle Milty, but I feel like Helene really flooded about 50% of all the people within arm's reach, my friends and family that have houses. About 50% of them had some serious flooding. And then you had all this debris hanging out outside. That's something not really talked about. You're not going to have that fucking weirdo from the Weather Channel trying to sensationalize this because it's kind of boring and pragmatic and like, but if you really think about it, it is interesting that we had a hurricane or flooding from one, this surge of whatever, and then all this debris of old stuff from the houses that have been brought to the curb. And then there wasn't enough time for the city or privately for people to take it away. And so now you had all this junk being weaponized in Uncle Milty. Kind of crazy. Milton was closer to a direct hit for the Tampa Bay area. Technically, have never had a direct hit in the recorded history or something like that. My company's name is Tocobaga after the tribe that may have blessed the area to not get hit by a hurricane. If you're more practical, you probably look at the winds and how they work around October, September, how in the weather, how hot it can get has something to do with how warm the Gulf is, because the hurricanes will just sit there and chill and build up. It's like when you get in a fight with your guy or gal and you're like, something cuts it off and you're like, I'm just spinning around like Tasmanian devil, getting more pissed because something got in the way of me throwing down a mad slam in this argument. kind of like that. And it builds up steam. And then when it comes, but I'll say with hurricanes, we've talked about this on our podcast in years past, especially after Irma. Uh, Here's really dumb guy stuff that we've realized: buy a generator. If you're looking at my pretty green eyes or listening to this raspy, mumbly voice, make a note right now. Stop what you're doing. Either go on Amazon and put it in the cart and get it later. By the way, there's a Chrome extension for Amazon that'll show you all the fake reviews. Amazon fake reviews. It does it for other sites now, and it's awesome. It'll show you the seller quality. You can only use it on desktop, but still. Get a generator or a battery backup like I've got. So if the power went out and I still had internet, or I could use off my cell phone somehow, I could still use my laptop if I needed to work, that kind of thing. I know that sounds like kind of white people like tips, but there's a lot of work from home people after COVID. So maybe that'll be helpful. Other thing was, beforehand, people freak out and go buy a bunch of stuff. And I remember these last two hurricanes, no toilet paper in the aisles. And then I did my theory that I used with COVID, or the lockdown times of 2020, let's say February to May, where we were in lockdown and no one could get toilet paper at some point. I just said, go to the ghetto gas stations, go to the hood. It's a lot of scared older people that are going to the grocery store and stocking up because they're watching, more mainstream media that is telling them, look, we had the fucking mayor of Tampa say, you're going to die if you stay here. And that pissed me off because that's so unethical. And I get it if she was trying to do it from a point of like, I have to sensationalize this to get more people to leave. But I think it's dishonest, and it kind of made the whole area look dumb. And then you have this weird intra-fighting group in, personal relationships like getting more heated because they're like, even the mayor said you're going to fucking die. And people that worry a lot and a little over anxious about things, overthinking, you should underthink. Ladies, I don't know how to do this bit on stage yet, but a lot of y'all overthink. Just try to underthink like I do. It's a lot easier. And they're like, well, yeah, but you're not planning. I go, I plan. I just go, oh, have I been thinking about my calendar for more than 10 minutes? I'm good. I'll find a cutoff point and go, that's all right. If I haven't figured out whatever I'm doing time-wise, I'll come back to it. Underthink. Try to underthink. The other thing I was going to throw out there is if there's no water in your area, go fill up the bathtub. Go fill up a cooler in the bathtub, or just fill up the bathtub. Yeah, it's not the best. I get it. But you'll have water. People fucking lose their shit. And then if FEMA's not helping down here, it's not like Katrina. I mean, that was a disaster, and a lot of it man-made. A lot of this, could be a little bit man-made-ish on the prep side and the post side. This area was without power after Milton for about a week, which is kind of crazy, and it was starting to turn into Mad Max. Those are the hurricane tips. All right, I got to zoom through the rest of this. I didn't think I'd do more than 5 minutes on here. I had a friend ask me if I wanted to do a 5K race. And I said, no. Just straight up no. And I think she was a coordinator for it, or maybe like the executive director of this thing. And I said, nope. And she was really pissed about it. And I was like, I should have gotten into this with her, but I was like, well, 5Ks are kind of worthless. Let's talk about, I'm not even going to go to the charity aspect of it, where you're like, how much of this actually goes to the charity? Just the whole event. Like, wait, I got to pay to go do the worst, quote, sport out there? Because to me, jogging's not, it's a sport for sure. Marathon running's, that's legit. You're a tough mudder, get your mud on, whatever. Spartan race, probably for gay dudes. I don't know. I've never done it. I wonder if there's a lot of hairless guys in that race. All right. So the 5K race, I'm going to sign up for it. I got to get up early on a Saturday or a Sunday, or God forbid, Thanksgiving. What the fuck? Turkey Trot. You can't just rebrand Turkey Trot for what it actually is, which is nightmarish movement day morning. Like let's take Thanksgiving off. It's a day to be fat. The night before is still the best night to get hammered because everybody's back in town. Not just at college time. Like, I'm 40, people still come back in town. You get to see your friends. You do not have to work the next day unless you're like emergency worker, first responder, something like that. But for the majority of us, we don't have to work. Let's take a day off. I don't need to wake up and do a turkey trot with my family, where some of the family members are awesome at running and most, like me, are like look like Rocky jogging, like hobbled over. I hate this. Why did I do this? These are all the thoughts I go through my head. I hate everybody there. I hate the wheelchair guy in the 5K, the one that has the hand crank. And I'm like, if you're in this race, you should have the disabled placard on the front of your thing. You got to take it off your car, put it on there. So 5Ks, I think they kind of suck. There's three kinds of people that, okay, you got people that read Runner's Digest magazine or whatever that, the people that can jog and have a conversation with another jogger. Fucking crazy to me. If you don't do that, it's fucking wild that people do that. I'm like, don't have me. Said a hurricane. There's a helicopter that felt like the hurricane that literally just went over my house. Or a plane. I don't know. That was humongous. I almost just shit my pants. Second kind of person is me. Most of us don't want to be there. We're going to do it. We're going to slug it out and we're just going to move on. Third person is a lot of my generation, give or take, 10 years, the gold star generation. I want to do this so I can get a medal, take a picture, put it online, but I'm going to walk the whole thing pretty much. I'm going to walk with some sassy friends of mine from Roomba class, and we're not even going to try to jog. Okay. And my friend that was pitching the 5K to me was like, you get like some free breakfast and you get a snazzy shirt. And I go, fucking no. I don't want to eat before the race. I'll throw up. And every time there's been food after a race, by the time I get there, it's pretty much gone. Or realize that I'll finish the race. I'll cry to myself for 20 minutes. I'll look around, and if there's beer, it's gone. If there's food, it's gone. And then I get a Gildan shirt, Gildan Hanes beefy tee the shittiest shirt of all time. I don't even keep it to clean the car as a rag. Like it, dads that wear Big Dog or Big Johnson or any big 90s brand, they look down at the 5K shirt. It supports local businesses. Well, McDonald's going to have the biggest part of that infographic on the back. Shell. There's going to be a lot of big lifestyle brands on the back, and then tiny, tiny, tiny little local businesses. Does anybody see a 5K shirt and they're like, oh, shit. Big Ray's Catfish Shack? Fuck yeah. They're sponsoring this. I'm going to go right to the shack. That's my random rant that came out of nowhere that I thought about in the shower. Last couple of things. I wanted to give you those pieces of information. Something from the show that I didn't have the website domain. I'm going to look it up right now. I would share my screen, but I feel like what is it? I'd share my screen, but I feel like I would show something that I don't want to, and I didn't prepare for that, and I just thought of it now. We were talking about class action lawsuits, and I began this thing talking about data. If you go to topclassactions.com, search engine to find all the class action lawsuits, and you'll be fucking livid how many you can be involved in. Is the class action lawsuit great overall? Well, it'll be like a $40 million payout. $25 million will go to the law firm that did it. Another big chunk's going to go to the main, the main plaintiff, defendant. I forget what it'd be, plaintiff on this, and then it's going to be, and then the rest of that money is going to get split between thousands of people, and you'll get $40. But I find it interesting in that data sense of like how many things have been breached. United Healthcare just got breached. 100 million people's data. Boop, bye. It's going to be a bigger problem, especially when you have social security numbers out there, HIPAA information like that. I don't want anybody to know I'm taking estrogen because I have so much testosterone. I have to put it down a little bit. You can get my medical file. The other thing I was going to tell you, if you need an upscale video, I've been knee deep in the stand-up special that's coming out. My first one, Florida, a sunny state for shady people. Probably gonna have to push it back from the original date I thought of the 29th of October. It would probably might make it election day, so you have something different to do that day at night to premiere it. But I was playing around with Topaz AI, and I was thinking about this. I have these old stand-up videos that look like shit, and a lot of the upscaling apps don't really work, but Topaz kind of did the gig. Now, here's the deal. My laptop, not great for it. I did a 5-minute video on Fiverr within 24-hour turnaround. It was $20. And that's kind of cool. So if you have old videos that you want to get upscaled, like I used to have that flip camera that was like bigger than 2 phones right now, but it was amazing in 2010. You know, if you needed to get that video upscaled, you could do it. And then the last thing I have for y'all, work smarter, not harder. Work harder, no one gives a shit is my new wallpaper on my phone. If you need watermarkremover.io, at some point, most people I know have needed a licensed image or photo, and they don't want to pay for it, or you know, they're just using it for something that's not really commercial just for fun, but they want to get rid of the watermark. They want to sign up for an account, whatever it is. Watermark.io. It'll give you free credit per day, I believe. And I'll use it sometimes if I'm on the fly. I can do it from my phone, and it will also take off, the branding watermark too. So there's the repeated watermark on there, and there's also the bottom right corner kind of stuff. Didn't really end this episode with a bang, but it wasn't a whimper either. Appreciate it, y'all. Bye.